Hello, good morning. How are you out there today? I am looking forward to a good show today, and I really want you guys to get involved with me. So, I've got some questions to ask, and they'll be easy. So, you can easily answer them. If you're out there right now and you are with me, would you just send me a little heads up to say that you are hearing me okay and everything is all good? Looks like the video is fine. I think the audio is fine, but I always like to have that double check. So if you're out there and you would like to give me a little heads up that yes, you can hear me, that would be lovely. I don't know why you wouldn't, but we've had that happen in the last couple of weeks. So just thought I'd ask. All right. So where are you? Who is out there and where are you? So when you decide to post your hello this morning, just let me know where you live. And also, I want to make mention that over in the chat box, I have put the link. So it's streamyard.com/Facebook. And then you just give them permission to show your name to make sure that I can see who you are. Otherwise, it just says Facebook, Facebook something, Facebook user, Facebook watcher. I can't remember what exactly it says, but that is how that works. So you just have to give that permission. So it is a little bit nicer day today. No sunshine for my Tuesday morning weather report, and I'm going to get into our topic today. But I want to just give it a little bit more time for people to get on because I know oftentimes you're in one meeting or one something, a Zoom, and then you just switch right over. So I am thankful that you are here. I just appreciate so much you joining in on the show. So my question, y'all, was pretty interesting. I would say, so when you saw that, if you could go to dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would you choose? Now, I'm going to preface all this. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So I watched actually 3 movies. Okay. They were in a series. I tend to do that. Once I find a movie and if I like it, then I want to see, is there a sequel to it? Is there a follow up? And this one happened that there was. And I think I originally watched this movie. It caught my eye again, but I watched it, I think when it first came out, which is about 2007. And I think the original name was Nikki Goes to Dinner with a Perfect, the Perfect Stranger. So basically, the name of the movie is A Perfect Stranger, and then the follow up was Another Perfect Stranger, and the third one was The Reunion of the Perfect Stranger. And it's well, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing just yet, but Nikki is the main character, and she's married, has a daughter, and she's not very happy. Her life is just kind of, she's just she's just not happy. She has no joy in her life, and she gets an invitation on her computer at work. She's an attorney, and she gets an invitation that says you are invited to dinner at this special restaurant, Pepe's or Pepito's or something. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. That wasn't important. At 7 o'clock on whatever the day was. It was a Friday night. And she had hoped her husband was going to take her out to dinner. That was her plan. And he decided he got a chance to go to a ball game. And so he chose the ball game. And she was very put out by that. So when she had gone to her office that morning and saw this invitation, then she thought, well, okay. And it was signed, and she's like laughing. Yeah, right, really? That's not going to happen. This isn't even real. Who's playing a joke? So she calls her mom, and she's talking to her mom about this invitation. They said, oh, I know. This is really Matt, her husband, saying this is really Matt. This was his funny way of going to dinner with me anyway, but to make it a surprise. So then she decided that was what was really happening. And she went ahead and, of course, walked in the restaurant expecting to see her husband, Matt, who was not there. So the maitre d' showed her to the table, and, a nice looking young man, professional, and, shirt, tie, and a coat that she had no idea. She'd never seen before. And she's looking at him, and he says to her, please sit down, please join me. So she did, thinking very Larry, of course. I mean, who wouldn't be? Because he had signed the note, Jesus Christ. So it indicated that she would be having dinner with Jesus. So he reached over and he introduced herself and says, "Hi, I'm Jesus." And she's like, "Yeah, right." I mean, would you feel that way too? It's like, oh my goodness, how could that be? But it progressed on. And it was so interesting because what he answered all her questions. She had all these questions. He would, and he would ask her questions. Well, why do you feel that way? Why do you believe that? She did not believe in God, did not believe at all, wasn't interested in religion. And so it was really a great conversation, just so natural, so laid back. And it got me thinking, like, what if, I guess last week was the what if week, whatever, maybe 2 weeks ago. But what if you really could go to dinner with Jesus? What if you could just pick someone, and who would your pick be? So I'm going to say other than Jesus, who else? Who would you like to, like I said, dead or alive, who would you choose to go to dinner with, or go, even, I think even just go to coffee or sit down and have tea. And I had a friend of mine, oh my goodness, about 20 years ago, who loved tea. I drink all tea. I might have, I don't know, 1 or 2 cups of coffee, maybe a month, not even that. So I'm a tea drinker. So I love having tea. And I know there's some gals in our group that are that way too. But this particular one, we were chatting, and she collected teacups. So they were so pretty, just various different China teacups. And we got to talking. She says, yes, she says, my goal, she says, I can't wait to get to heaven so I can have tea with Jesus. And I thought, wow, what a great picture that is. I mean, I'm a very visual person. That's how I learn. I learn visually. I can, pick up things pretty well if I can see it. I think that's why I take notes, when I'm in if it's a sermon or if I'm in a class or whatever it is, even if they give you a workbook and they have all the stuff there, I still have to write. There's something in my brain, and all of you neuroscience people, you can probably tell me why that is, but there's something about writing it down that makes it go into my brain again. So I'm hearing it and I'm writing it, it goes in my brain and kind of comes back out again. That's how I am. And I think it does have something to do, because I've been told this, that when you're writing, physically writing, as your hand is going across the page, the neurons, or those little pathways in your brain, go back and forth. So it makes it go back and forth and makes them connect better. So I don't know how to better explain that, but anyway, it works for me. And that's how I do that. So I'm very visual. And so when she said that to me, like, oh, I can't wait to sit down and have tea with Jesus. So after this movie, and I'm listening to this, I have to tell y'all, I was very impressed. There was not one thing that there wasn't anything that I felt wasn't true when they were talking. Of course, Jesus used scriptures, but he met her exactly where she was. And he was not offended at all by her asking the questions and her having doubts. And but he took her back. He helped her to, peel the onion back, so that she could realize where those thoughts had come from and why she didn't believe, what had caused her to stop, and what kept her from really tuning in and believing him. So by the end of the movie, she does. So, but you might want to watch it. As I said, I'm going to put over here, A Perfect Stranger. I think if you just pull that up, you'll get it. It's not, I'm going to tell you, it's not the best acting in the world. It's not bad, because I do look at that, A Perfect Stranger. The photography is not like, big movies that we're used to watching all the time. It's a very simple movie, but it is well done. And like I said, it focused me in, and I watched all 3. So, it must have had something in there. Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat box for you. There you go. And so, and as I mentioned, he had a, button-down collar with the tie and a coat, which meant he had long sleeves on. And towards the end, as they were getting ready to leave the restaurant, she's right on that edge. Well, I think her question to him was, well, what do we do now? And he says, what do you want to do now? he always just that part of it, I could really visualize that. If Jesus came, now he is the God of the universe. He came, and we know as Jesus in person, human being, crucified and arose, okay, resurrected, but it doesn't, he's the God of the universe. If he wanted to do that again and wanted to come meet with people like that, I think it'd be pretty awesome. And I think we'd all be pretty skeptical. If I got a note like that, I'd say, who's trying to pull a joke? But I'd go just to see what it was all about. But what if that really was? And what would it you want to ask? How would you feel if it was true? Okay, if it was possible that you could actually sit down and have tea or have a cup of coffee or have dinner actually with Jesus, what would you ask? What would you want to know? And I've heard people say, "Oh, I've got this whole list of questions that I want to ask Jesus. When I go to heaven, I have all these questions." And as I've been thinking of that overnight, I think my only question, I don't know for sure, but I think my only question would be, how could you love us so much? How could you put yourself through that pain? It's so heart-wrenching when we look at it. When you kind of walk through at Easter, when we go to that remembrance place and we're remembering, I think right now it's like, how is it that you could love us so much that you would do that? At this point, I don't really have any of those real intellectual questions that I think I would ask. Maybe I would. I don't know. And the other thing that came to my mind also, and I'm going to, yes, Kathy, he sure is. So good and so great. And I think he wants, and what he shows in the Bible, when he was walking the earth, he met everybody right where they were. So I think that's what sometimes we forget, is that it's not about we have to be perfect first, because it's not going to happen, right? So he meets us right where we are. And then the second one actually was her daughter, who was on her way to visit a college that she had really wanted to get into. And then this time Jesus was in his jeans and a t-shirt, and his hair was long. It was in a mullet of all things. And he was just sitting in the airplane, and they were just having this conversation, and she had a layover, and they met in the coffee shop, and they had their coffee, and she had her own set of questions that she had never taken. She had been to church. I mean, that, obviously her mother, Nikki, who had met Jesus and had this profound, obviously truly come to Jesus talk, right? And accepted him. And over the years, then she began going to church and stuff. But the conversation was really interesting of how it started with the daughter. And she was saying, "Oh my, just had this big fight with my parents the night before she left, because they sat down and, they'd been going to church together for the last 10 years. And she had gone to all these various things. And but she'd never really, the daughter had not had not been saved, had not really accepted Jesus herself. She was there and going through the motions, but she had never really accepted Jesus. And she was just talking about how she didn't like religion. And he said, "Yeah, I hate religion." It was just, and somebody who didn't watch the first one wouldn't know right away that was, Jesus in the plane. Now, I know it's a movie, you guys. Okay. I'm not saying that this is all real. I'm just saying it's a movie that made me think and made like, oh, I would love to sit down and have coffee, sit down and have tea, sit down and have dinner with Jesus, and just talk. Now, I know I talk to him every day. So do you. We pray, we have conversations, but it took on a different level to actually imagine that Jesus is sitting in the chair across from me, sitting in my kitchen, or sitting out on the back porch and looking out at the yard, and drinking, a cup of tea or having a Coke, whatever that might be, or a glass of water, Kathy, whatever that might be, just to be able to visualize that. And then it reminded me of this song, which I just love. I truly believe this song, there are some songs that are just, in my opinion, they're anointed. They are songs that take you to a different place. And I've sung it. I've heard it hundreds of times. I saw the movie. I Can Only Imagine. And I'm going to read these words to you. I just think, and if you haven't listened to it in a long time, I suggest you do, because it's a beautiful song put out by Mercy Me, but also Amy Grant sang it. She actually wrote it, and then he wrote it, and then she was going to sing it the very first time, and then she left. She said, no, you've got to sing it. So it was kind of a cool song, cool story. So the words are, and that's what this conversation today is like, just imagining that. I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. You imagine being right there in the face of Jesus. I mean, like right there, can touch. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to your knees, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah, or will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine what all I will do is forever, forever worship you. Like I said, I think that song is anointed. It makes us go to a different place to just have the demand. Our imagination is one of those beautiful things that we have. When God created us and he gave us our imagination and that creativity, but to actually be able to sit down and look at Jesus across the table. So as I've been going through all this, I'm thinking, okay, so maybe I'm going to take I'm going to do something different. I don't think that I've ever sat down like at my kitchen table and actually like imagine Jesus being right there. I know he's here. I know he's in my heart, and I know I talk to him, but I've never taken the step to actually visualize him in the chair beside me or across from me and have that kind of a conversation. So I'm going to do it. I just think it might take my prayer life to a different level to actually visualize that. So then my question is, so most of us who are believers, I think that would be the person that might really want to do that. So who else is there? Is there someone else that if you could just choose anyone, dead or alive, who would you like to have tea with or go to dinner with? So if you're out there and you want to make a comment, I would love to know who that is. My other one would be Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. I just thought she was such an amazing woman, had such a gentle but strong spirit. They called her, the velvet something. What did I say? Velvet hammer, something, whatever, like something really strong that has a soft touch. Because she was very strong to do what she was doing back at the company started in 1963, which was not a time for women. It was a big transition, and Mary, it had a whole. There's autobiographies. There's several books out there. If you haven't read them, very great story about a woman who cared so much about other women and wanted them to have a chance. Her whole goal in the cosmetics was to give women a way to make a living and provide for their families, because there were lots of single moms. She was a single mom. And so it's a beautiful story. And I'd love to sit down with her and just say, gosh, Mary Kay, what gave you the idea? Just how did you do that? What were the things? Because she had lots of obstacles to overcome. And we can learn so much from each other. And I think that's why doing one-on-ones, if you're in business or whatever you're doing, if you're in a work for a nonprofit, maybe you're whatever business you're in, even in your building your friendships, your relationships, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes intention. So if you want to get to know someone, you meet somebody out and about and you think, oh, she seemed like, seems so nice. If you exchange numbers, you can always follow up with a conversation to get to know them. Maybe this may be someone that could be your new heart friend, your new one of your new best friends, right? I've always had a little trouble with the best friend, so I actually usually say a new great friend that you can share your life with. Maybe it's business, maybe it's spiritual. I don't know. We have lots of ways and different ways that we can make connections. But I think it's pretty powerful when we do that. And we can do it. We do it a lot. Those of us who are in networking, and we hold events to do that, to get to know each other, of which I'll just put a little commercial in. We're having one at 12 noon here today on my Zoom channel. So if you go to any of my, go to the Fun Fearless Female page or to my Delinda page, Delinda Lane, the Zoom link will be there. You can join us. This for everybody. Everybody gets to share their business, get to share our lives a little bit, and really begin that connection or continue the connection, depending on how many of the people might be new or people that you already, are connected with. So it's really great. So when you're thinking how that changes things, when you get to know each other on a more personal level, and then with our lunches that we have right now going in Vegas and in Kansas City, be able to then step out from behind the Zoom screen and go live and in person. And you can actually give each other hugs, or you can give the fist bump if that's what you like. I'm into the hugs, and I haven't found anybody in the recently that backs away. I do come, if it's somebody brand new, I do ask their permission. I say, do you mind if I give you a hug? And I haven't had anybody say no. And if they did, I would understand, if they may not want the germ issue or whatever that might be. But so if I know you already, you're going to get a hug either way. But if I don't know you, I will ask you first if it's okay. And I hope you will say yes, because I would love to do that. Yes, Kathy, I did know that. And I know it's like in the Zooming world, you can do so many Zooms. You can make so many more connections when you're doing Zoom, because you don't have to get out of the house and drive the car. But when we take that time to go meet in person, I think it does it takes it up a level. And so we all just choose how many of those we want to do. And I love it, Kathy, that you're the one commenting here. I love it because we meet up any chance we get to go live and in person. So, all right. So Kathy, do you have your person that you would like to see, have to dinner? Someone in your life you might like to see again, or a celebrity, or what? Do you have someone that you would like to have dinner with? I think you too. I might like to have dinner or tea. I'm going to say dinner with my grandmother. She passed when I was in 7th grade. And, but a lot of my faith and the beginnings of my faith it was back to her, because she was just such a strong woman of faith. She was such a gentle person. But now she had like 6 kids. How can you be gentle when you've got 6 kids? But she was just such an amazing person. And I don't, being in 7th grade, I didn't really have that much time, and we didn't live close by her. So we saw her once a year, sometimes twice, but just saw her once a year. And I was, usual kid and teenager. And I did tell her many times that I loved her. But now it'd be different relating to her on a whole different level. So I don't know. This is kind of a fun imagining game that, I guess, or exercise that I'm enjoying doing. So I invite you to do the same thing. Think of who you would like to see, what questions you might ask. And I'm gonna have tea with Jesus. He wouldn't it be cool? Maybe he will show up in person. He's the God of the universe. He can do whatever he wants. But it would just be so amazing. So I know that's going to happen one day, but it'd be kind of nice if it happened sooner. To be in the same room with God would be yes, awesome, audacious, so humbling. And part of me would just want to run to him and just hug him. Now if he's here in a real live person body, okay, then you could really hug. Spiritually, we can connect, but it would be so good. So part of me would I think when I would first sit down at the table and I would look, and I have a feeling, okay, there would be so much love in his eyes that would probably just humble me to pieces. that I would probably just weep, and he'd say, "It's okay, it's okay, Dylan, it's okay." Um, oh yeah, Kathy, that would be a great connection, and it would be, and another one. To me is John Maxwell. I've met him, okay, but I did not have a chance to sit down and have coffee, or sit down and have tea. Um, and there are some great, wonderful people that are alive now that it would be nice to do that. So, oh well. What a morning. Thank you for joining me. And if you're joining me later on today or during the week, thanks for tuning in. And you can still make comments because I go back during the week and look to see what comments have been made, and just see, I don't know, how this hits you. You might want to check out the movie. And The first time Jesus met her was in a suit. He met her daughter in jeans and a t-shirt and a mullet hairdo. And then when they reunited again, he showed up as a hitchhiker while she was driving, and she I don't know. I the people that put the film together really did a great job on so many levels because it made me think. Anytime I can go and watch something that makes me think, from a positive standpoint, I think that's a good thing. So, all right, my friends, thank you so much. Thank you, Kathy, for being here and giving me your information there. And I think David Jeremiah would be a great one to do. Um, and as we continue on, I just want to invite you to join me at noon for the networking time. Go to my Zoom link. I don't have it just right here handy, or I post it in there. And I look forward to seeing you. I can see you in real life. Well, not real in person, but I can see you. We'll all be on the screen. We can share with each other. And I love the back and forth of being able to hear from everybody. So I invite you to join me for that. And then in 2 weeks on Friday, the first Friday in May, Lisa Fredrickson will be sharing her Let's Chat. Her Let's Chat interview will be on about her faith and her faith journey, and you will definitely want to hear that. So, keep posted in there, keep checking back. Just want you to have a place where you can go to be inspired, to be uplifted, and know, somebody loves you. I care about you. Jesus loves you unconditionally. And what better thing can we ask than that? All right, everybody. Remember that life's not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. Choose wisely and choose who you'd like to have dinner with, and then imagine it. Pretty powerful. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye now. Take care.